A Twin Paranormal Story. Return to the Queen Mary. Chapter 1. Return to the Queen Mary. The hulking silhouette of the Queen Mary looms against the twilight sky, its rusted hull a stark contrast to the twinkling lights of Long Beach Harbor. Ryan adjusts his camera, capturing the ship's imposing presence, as River and Wyatt unload equipment from their van. "You guys ready for round 2? Ryan asks, his voice a mix of excitement and trepidation. River hefts a heavy case of electronics. "As ready as I'll ever be. Last time was intense." Wyatt nods, his eyes fixed on the ship. "Let's hope we get some answers this time." The trio, known collectively as Twin Paranormal, make their way up the gangplank. The metal creaks beneath their feet as if the ship itself is groaning at their return. As they step onto the main deck, chill wind whips around them, carrying the faint scent of salt and rust. "Here we go again," Ryan thinks, suppressing a shiver that has nothing to do with the cold. Inside, the Art Deco elegance of the ship's interior is a stark counterpoint to its weathered exterior. Ornate wood paneling lines the corridors, and brass fixtures gleam softly in the dim light. But beneath the veneer of 1930s luxury, there's an unmistakable air of abandonment. Time standing still. As they make their way to their assigned suite, Wyatt breaks the tense silence. "Remember last time? The knocks, the voices, that presence we all felt?" River nods, her face pale in the flickering fluorescent lights. "How could I forget? It felt like something was watching us the entire time." Ryan interjects, his voice taking on a more formal tone as he addresses the camera. "For those of you just joining us, we're back on the Queen Mary, one of the most haunted locations in the world. During our last investigation, we experienced some of the most compelling paranormal evidence we've ever encountered." They reach their suite, the same one from their previous visit. Ryan pushes open the door, revealing a spacious room that seems caught between two eras. Modern amenities clash with the ship's original fixtures. "Home sweet home," Wyatt mutters, setting down his gear. As they begin to set up their equipment, cameras, EMF meters, spirit boxes, and more, Ryan provides some historical context for their viewers. The Queen Mary was launched in 1934 and served as both a luxury liner and a troop transport during World War II. Since being permanently moored here in 1967, it's become known as a hotbed of paranormal activity. There have been at least 49 recorded deaths on board, and some say the number of spirits here reaches into the hundreds, maybe even thousands. River, positioning a camera in the corner of the room, adds, "And those are just the deaths we know about. Who knows how many soldiers might have passed away during the war years." As night falls outside the porthole windows, the team finishes their setup. The suite is now a high-tech command center, with monitors displaying feeds from various parts of the room and devices ready to capture any paranormal activity. Wyatt stands before a large mirror, adjusting his shirt. He freezes suddenly, eyes widening. "Guys, do you remember if this mirror was here last time?" Ryan and River join him, staring at their reflections. The ornate mirror, easily 7 feet tall, seems to dominate the wall. I don't think so," River says, her voice uncertain, "but it fits the decor so well. Hard to say." Ryan runs his hand along the mirror's frame, feeling the intricate carvings beneath his fingers. "Well, whether it's new or not, mirrors are often associated with paranormal activity. Some believe they can act as portals." A sudden sharp beep from one of their devices causes them all to jump. Wyatt rushes over to check the EMF meter, which is flickering erratically. "Looks like we might have some company already," he says, a mix of fear and excitement in his voice. As if in response, a low, indistinct whisper seems to emanate from the corner of the room. The temperature drops noticeably, causing goosebumps to rise on their arms. Ryan takes a deep breath, steadying himself. "All right, team. This is what we came for. Let's see what the spirits of the Queen Mary have to tell us this time." With a shared look of determination, the three investigators prepare to delve into the unknown, unaware of the long night that stretches before them, and the dark truths they might uncover about the Queen Mary and themselves. Chapter 2: First Contact. The soft hum of electronic equipment fills the suite as Ryan, River, and Wyatt prepare for their first attempt at spirit communication. The tension in the air is palpable, a mix of anticipation and apprehension. Ryan positions himself in the center of the room, holding a modified radio known as a spirit box. For those unfamiliar, this device rapidly scans radio frequencies. The theory is that spirits can manipulate these frequencies to communicate. He takes a deep breath, his finger hovering over the power button. Here we go. The spirit box crackles to life, filling the room with a cacophony of white noise and fragmented voices. For several minutes, nothing coherent comes through. Then, suddenly, back. The team exchanges glances. Wyatt leans in, addressing the device. Are you saying we're back? Do you remember us? More static then. New. Return. River's eyes widen. Sounds like they were expecting us. Ryan nods, his voice taking on a more formal tone for the benefit of their future audience. It appears the entities here not only remember our last visit but anticipated our return. This level of awareness is unusual and, frankly, a bit unsettling. As if in response to his words, a cold spot suddenly forms near the ornate mirror. Wyatt, standing closest to it, shivers visibly. Guys, it just got freezing over here. River approaches with an infrared thermometer, pointing it at the area Wyatt indicated. Temperature drop of nearly 15 degrees. That's significant. Ryan directs his next question to the apparent cold spot. Is there a spirit here with us now? Can you tell us your name? The spirit box crackles again. Mary, not alone. A chill runs down River's spine that has nothing to do with the cold spot. Mary? As in the woman in white, the spirit often seen around the ship? Wyatt nods, his voice hushed. But what does it mean, not alone? Are there multiple entities here? As if in answer, a loud knock emanates from the wall behind them, causing all three to jump. Ryan swings around, camera in hand, trying to capture any visual anomaly. Can you knock again? He asks, voice steady despite his racing heart. 2 more knocks follow, clear and deliberate. River consults her tablet, pulling up information on the ship's history. The Queen Mary is said to be home to numerous spirits. There's the woman in white, of course, but also reports of a tall man in a suit seen in the first-class staterooms. Ryan nods, recalling the information. That's right. And don't forget, this ship served as a troop transport during World War II. There could be residual energy from soldiers who never made it home. Spirit box suddenly comes to life again. Dark ones, beware. The temperature in the entire room seems to plummet. Wyatt's breath is visible as he speaks. Dark ones? What does that mean? River's face has gone pale. Maybe there are malevolent entities here too? Ryan tries to keep his voice calm, but there's an edge to it now. If there are dark entities present, can you tell us more about them? The response comes not from the spirit box, but as a whisper that seems to emanate from the very walls of the suite. Trapped. Help us. The lights flicker, and for a moment, the team's equipment goes haywire. EMF meters spike. The infrared camera's feed distorts, and a high-pitched whine emanates from the spirit box before it abruptly shuts off. When the moment passes, the 3 investigators stand in stunned silence, trying to process what just happened. Wyatt is the first to speak, his voice barely above a whisper. I think we might be dealing with something bigger than we anticipated. River nods, her earlier excitement now tempered with caution. These entities seem more aware, more interactive than anything we've encountered before. Like they've been waiting for us. Ryan takes a deep breath, centering himself. He looks directly into the camera, his expression a mix of determination and concern. Well, folks, it seems the spirits of the Queen Mary remember us, and they have a lot to say. But the question is, are we ready to hear it? As if in response, the mirror behind them emits a soft, ethereal glow for just a moment before returning to normal. None of the team notices, their attention focused on reviewing the evidence they've just gathered. But as they huddle around their equipment, discussing their next move, a sense of unease settles over the room. The night is still young, and the Queen Mary has only begun to reveal her secret. Chapter 3. The Portal Mirrors. As the initial shock of their first communication session wears off, Ryan, River, and Wyatt find themselves drawn to the ornate mirror that dominates one wall of their suite. Its surface seems to shimmer slightly in the dim light, an effect that could be attributed to the old glass, or to something far more mysterious. Ryan runs his hand along the mirror's frame, his brow furrowed in concentration. You know, I've been thinking about what we learned about mirrors in our paranormal studies. River nods, her eyes never leaving her own reflection, that they can act as portals to the spirit world, right? Exactly, Ryan confirms. And look at this. He gestures to the opposite wall, where another large mirror hangs. These two mirrors are directly facing each other. Wyatt's eyes widen as he realizes the implication, creating an infinite reflection, and potentially an infinite pathway. The team falls silent for a moment, contemplating the possibility. The air in the room feels charged, as if the very molecules are vibrating with unseen energy. Could we have unknowingly opened a door? River thinks, suppressing a shudder. Ryan clears his throat, addressing their unseen audience. For those just joining us, we've discovered two large mirrors in our suite, positioned directly across from each other. In paranormal theory, this configuration is believed to create a powerful conduit for spirit energy. As if on cue, the spirit box in Wyatt's hand crackles to life, despite not being turned on. A garbled voice emerges from the static. Portal. Open. The team exchanges alarmed glances. Wyatt fumbles with the device, finally managing to switch it on properly. Can you tell us more about the portal? He asks, his voice trembling slightly. The response comes in fragments, punctuated by bursts of static. Dark ones. Use it. Trapped. River grabs her notebook, scribbling furiously. It's the same message as before. Dark ones and trapped spirits. But now we know they're connected to these mirrors somehow. Ryan nods, his face grim. We need to be careful. If these mirrors really are a portal, we don't know what might come through. Suddenly, the temperature in the room drops drastically. The team's breath becomes visible in the air, and frost begins to form on the surface of both mirrors. Wyatt, standing closest to one of the mirrors, stumbles back with a gasp. Guys, I think I saw something move in there. River and Ryan rush to his side, peering intently at the mirror's frosted surface. For a moment, nothing happens. Then slowly words begin to form in the frost, as if traced by an unseen finger. Help us. The team stands in stunned silence, watching as the words fade away, leaving no trace on the now clear surface of the mirror. River is the first to find her voice. I think we're dealing with multiple entities here. The ones asking for help and these dark ones they mentioned. Ryan nods slowly, his mind racing. It's like there's a war going on in the spirit world, and somehow we've stumbled right into the middle of it. Wyatt, still visibly shaken, turns to the others. What do they want from us? How can we help spirits that are trapped? Before anyone can respond, a series of loud knocks echoes through the room, seeming to come from inside the walls themselves. Knocks form a clear pattern. 3 slow knocks, followed by 3 quick ones, then 3 slow again. SOS, River whispers, her face pale in the dim light. Spirit box bursts to life once more. Danger. They come. The lights in the suite flicker ominously, and for a brief moment, the team sees a dark, shadowy figure reflected in one of the mirrors. It's gone in an instant, leaving them questioning if it was ever really there. Ryan takes a deep breath, steadying himself, looks directly into the camera, his expression a mix of determination and fear. Well, folks, it seems we've stumbled onto something big here on the Queen Mary. These mirrors appear to be more than just antique decoration. They might be gateways to another world. And whatever's on the other side, it knows we're here. As the team begins to discuss their next move, none of them notice the subtle change in the mirrors. The reflections now seem slightly off, as if showing a version of the room that's not quite right. In one corner, a shadow moves independently, unnoticed by the investigators, growing darker and more substantial with each passing moment. The night is far from over, and the true nature of what they've awakened on the Queen Mary is only beginning to reveal itself. Chapter 4. Wyatt's Ordeal. The investigation continues deep into the night. The team's initial excitement now tinged with a growing sense of unease. Wyatt, still shaken from his encounter with the mirror, decides to take a break from the main investigation area. He retreats to a quiet corner of the suite, hoping to collect his thoughts. As he leans against the wall, Wyatt suddenly feels a sharp burning sensation on his forearm. Ow! What the? He rolls up his sleeve, his eyes widening in shock. 3 angry red lines have appeared on his skin, as if scratched by invisible claws. Guys, Wyatt calls out, his voice trembling. You need to see this. Ryan and River rush over, their faces etched with concern. Ryan immediately starts filming while River examines the marks. These weren't here before, River says, her voice hushed. They appeared just now? Wyatt nods, wincing as River gently probes the scratches. Felt like something scratched me, but there's nothing here that could have done this. Ryan zooms in on the marks with his camera. This is unprecedented. We've heard of scratch marks appearing on people during investigations, but to have it happen in real time while we're filming. The spirit box in River's pocket suddenly crackles to life. Marked. Chosen. A chill runs down Wyatt's spine. Chosen? What does that mean? Before anyone can speculate, the scratches on Wyatt's arm begin to glow faintly, emitting a soft, pulsating light. Team watches in stunned silence as the glow intensifies, casting eerie shadows across the room. River's face pales. It's like they're responding to the spirit communication. Ryan nods grimly. Wyatt, I hate to say this, but I think you've become a focus for whatever entities are here. As if to confirm Ryan's words, the spirit box erupts in a cacophony of voices, all speaking over each other. Vessel. Need him. Gateway? Wyatt staggers back, overwhelmed by the intensity of the moment. What do they want from me? River places a comforting hand on his shoulder, quickly pulls back with a gasp. Wyatt, you're ice cold. Indeed, Wyatt's skin has become unnaturally chilled, his breath visible in the air despite the room's normal temperature. He wraps his arms around himself, shivering uncontrollably. I feel strange, Wyatt mumbles, his eyes unfocused. Like something's trying to get inside me. Ryan and River exchange alarmed glances. This is far beyond anything they've encountered in their previous investigations. We need to ground him, River says decisively. She rummages through her bag, pulling out a small pouch. I brought some protective herbs just in case. Sage, rosemary, salt. As River begins to create a protective circle around Wyatt, Ryan addresses the camera, his voice tense but professional. Folks, we're dealing with an unprecedented situation here. It appears that the entities we've contacted have taken a particular interest in Wyatt. We're taking precautionary measures to ensure his safety. Suddenly, the lights in the suite flicker violently. Temperature plummets, frost forming on the windows and mirrors. The spirit box emits a high-pitched whine before going silent. In the ensuing quiet, Wyatt's voice emerges, but it's not quite his own. It's deeper, resonant, with an otherworldly quality that sends shivers down Ryan and River's spines. The gateway is open, Wyatt intones, his eyes rolled back in his head. The Dark Ones approach. You cannot stop what has already begun. As quickly as it started, the moment passes. Wyatt collapses to his knees, gasping for air. The lights stabilize and the room temperature slowly returns to normal. River kneels beside Wyatt, face etched with worry. Wyatt, are you okay? Can you hear me? Wyatt blinks rapidly, his eyes focusing on River's face. What happened? Did I black out? Ryan helps Wyatt to his feet, supporting him as they move to sit on the edge of the bed. You were possessed, I think. Something spoke through you. Wyatt's face drains of color as the implications sink in. Oh God, what have we gotten ourselves into? As Ryan and River attempt to comfort Wyatt, none of them notice the subtle changes occurring in the room. The shadows in the corners seem deeper, more substantial. The mirrors reflect versions of themselves that move just slightly out of sync. And in the center of it all, Wyatt's arm continues to glow faintly, a beacon to forces beyond their understanding. The night is far from over, and the true test of the Twin Paranormal team is only just beginning. Chapter 5. EVP Session. The team sits in a tight circle on the floor of the suite, still reeling from Wyatt's unsettling experience. The scratches on his arm have faded to dull red lines, but the memory of their eerie glow lingers in everyone's minds. Ryan sets up a digital recorder in the center of their circle, preparing for an EVP, electronic voice phenomenon session. All right, team, Ryan says, his voice low and steady. We need answers. This EVP session might be our best chance to understand what's happening here. River nods, her face set with determination. Let's focus on the spot where that Ouija board was supposedly used in the past. If there's a hot spot for activity, that might be it. They relocate to the corner of the room where, according to ship lore, previous guest had conducted a Ouija session that ended in terror. The air feels thicker here, charged with an unseen energy that makes the hairs on the back of their necks stand up. Ryan places the recorder on the floor and presses record. If there are any spirits present, we're here to listen. We mean you no harm, and you tell us who you are? For a moment, there's only silence. Then, faintly, a whisper emerges from the recorder. Mary. River leans in, her eyes wide. Mary? Are you the woman in white we've heard about? Another whisper, barely audible. Not, Mary. Wyatt furrows his brow. If you're not Mary, who are you? The response comes louder this time, a harsh whisper that seems to emanate from the walls themselves. Imposter. A chill runs down Ryan's spine. Are you saying something is impersonating Mary? Temperature in the room drops suddenly, causing their breath to mist in the air. The digital recorder emits a high-pitched whine before the next response comes through, clearer than any before. Dark ones wear faces. Not real. The team exchanges alarmed glances. River's voice trembles slightly as she asks, Are these dark ones the entities that scratched Wyatt? In response, the lights flicker ominously. Shadow figures seem to dance in the corners of their vision, always disappearing when looked at directly. The recorder picks up a cacophony of whispers, overlapping and indistinct, before one voice rises above the rest. Blood, vessel, they come. Wyatt instinctively clutches his scratched arm, wincing as a dull pain throbs beneath the marks. What do they want with me? He asks, his voice barely above a whisper. The response is immediate and chilling. Gateway. Need. Living. Ryan's face pales as the implications sink in. Are they trying to use Wyatt as some kind of portal? Before anyone can respond, a loud bang echoes through the room, as if something heavy had been dropped directly above them. The team jumps, huddling closer together instinctively. River, her voice shaking, addresses the unseen entities. We want to help, but we need to understand. What can we do? The response comes not through the recorder, but as words that seem to form in their minds simultaneously. Too late, already here. Suddenly, the digital recorder emits a piercing screech before shutting off completely. The room plunges into an unnatural silence, broken only by the rapid breathing of the three investigators. As they sit in stunned silence, trying to process what they've just experienced, Wyatt notices something that makes his blood run cold. In the ornate mirror across the room, their reflections are visible, huddled together on the floor. But there's a fourth figure in the reflection, a dark, shadowy form looming behind them. Wyatt opens his mouth to warn the others, but before he can speak, the figure in the mirror turns its head, looking directly at him. Its eyes glow with an otherworldly light, and a sinister smile spreads across its featureless face. In that moment, Wyatt understands with terrifying clarity that their investigation has stirred something ancient and malevolent. Whatever dark forces inhabit the Queen Mary, they are now awake and aware, and the Twin Paranormal team is caught in the middle of a supernatural conflict beyond their understanding. Chapter 6. Dark Revelations. The oppressive silence that followed the EVP session is shattered by a sudden violent rattling from the bathroom. Ryan, River, and Wyatt exchange glances, their faces pale in the dim light. We have to check it out, Ryan says, voice barely above a whisper. Grabs a handheld camera, its night vision already engaged. As they approach the bathroom door, the rattling intensifies. River reaches for the handle, her hand trembling slightly. She takes a deep breath and pushes the door open. Bathroom is frigid, their breath immediately visible in the air. The mirror above the sink is covered in a thick layer of frost, obscuring their reflection. But it's the old-fashioned hairdryer mounted on the wall that draws their attention. It's shaking violently, despite not being plugged in or turned on. Wyatt steps forward, curiosity momentarily overriding his fear. How is this possible? There's no power source. As if in response to his words, the hairdryer suddenly stops moving. For a moment, all is still. Then, without warning, it rips free from the wall and clatters to the floor at the feet. River jumps back with a startled cry. Oh my God! Ryan zooms in on the fallen appliance with his camera. This is incredible. We've never captured anything like this on film before. As they stand there, trying to process what they've just witnessed, a low, menacing growl emanates from the dark corner of the bathroom. The team freezes, their eyes straining to see into the shadows. Slowly, a form begins to take shape in the darkness. It's vaguely humanoid, Wrong somehow. Too tall, too thin, with limbs that seem to bend at impossible angles. Wyatt's voice is barely audible. Guys? I think we need to get out of here. Now. They back out of the bathroom slowly, never taking their eyes off the shadowy figure. As River pulls the door shut, they hear a sound that will haunt their dreams for years to come. A low, guttural laugh that seems to reverberate through their very souls. Back in the main room, the team huddles together, their earlier bravado replaced by genuine fear. What was that thing? River asks, her voice shaking. Ryan shakes his head, his face grim. I don't know, but I think it's time we discuss the ship's darker history. He pulls out a tablet, quickly bringing up some historical documents. The Queen Mary wasn't just a luxury liner. During World War II, she was converted into a troop transport ship nicknamed the Grey Ghost. Wyatt nods, remembering. That's right. She carried thousands of soldiers across the Atlantic. But here's what most people don't know, Ryan continues, his voice low. There were deaths during those voyages. Accidents, illnesses, even suicide. And the military kept those records sealed. River's eyes widen. Are you saying we could be dealing with the spirits of dead soldiers? Before Ryan can respond, the spirit box in Wyatt's pocket crackles to life. Not just soldiers. Darkness follows. A chill runs down their spines as they consider the implications. What if the ship's military service had attracted something far more sinister than the ghosts of fallen soldiers? Suddenly, Wyatt doubles over, clutching his scratched arm. Guys, it burns. River and Ryan rush to his side. To their horror, they see that the scratches are glowing again, pulsing with an otherworldly light. Vessel, prepare, coming. The spirit box sputters out these words before going silent. Ryan looks at his teammates, his face etched with concern. I think we might be in over our heads here. Maybe we should consider ending the investigation early. But as he speaks, the lights in the suite begin to flicker wildly. The temperature drops so rapidly that frost forms on the windows, and from every corner of the room, they hear whispers, countless voices speaking in unison. Too late. Already here. No escape. The team huddles closer together, the realization sinking in that they may have stirred up forces beyond their control. Queen Mary's dark past has awakened, and it seems to have sinister plans for the Twin Paranormal team. Chapter 7. The Boiler Room Mystery. As the team grapples with the terrifying revelations of the past hour, a new sound catches their attention. A deep, rhythmic thudding emanates from somewhere beneath their feet, like the heartbeat of some enormous creature. Ryan cocks his head, listening intently. That sounds like it's coming from the boiler room. River nods, face pale but determined. The boiler room. One of the most notoriously haunted areas on the ship. Wyatt, still rubbing his throbbing arm, adds, but it's off limits, isn't it? Dealed off to the public. A moment of silence falls as they consider their options. The thudding continues, growing louder and more insistent with each passing second. Ryan takes a deep breath. We need to know what we're dealing with. The source of all this is down there. We have to find a way in, River finishes, her voice firm. As if in response to their decision, the spirit box crackles to life once more. Danger. Below, coming to stay. The team exchanges uneasy glances. Wyatt voices the question on all their minds. What does it mean, coming to stay? Before anyone can speculate, a new sound fills the air. Creaking and groaning of metal under stress. It's as if the very bones of the ship are shifting. We need to move, Ryan says urgently. Grab what we need and let's find a way down there. As they gather their essential equipment, River pulls up a schematic of the ship on her tablet. There should be a service elevator not far from here. It might take us down to the boiler room level. They move swiftly through the corridors of the Queen Mary, the oppressive atmosphere growing heavier with each step. The lights flicker intermittently, casting writhing shadows on the walls. More than once, they catch glimpses of dark figures at the edge of their vision, always disappearing when looked at directly. Finally, they reach the service elevator. It's an old, cage-like contraption that looks like it hasn't been used in decades. Ryan preys open the rusty gate, wincing at the screeching sound it makes. As they pile into the elevator, the spirit box comes to life again. Feeds on fear, you bring it strength. River's hand hesitates over the control panel. Are we making things worse by being here? Wyatt nods grimly. Probably. But we're also the only ones who might be able to stop whatever's happening. With a shaky breath, River presses the button for the lowest level. The elevator groans to life, descending into the bowels of the ship. As they drop further below the waterline, the air grows thick and damp. The smell of rust and seawater fills their nostrils. The thudding sound grows louder, reverberating through the elevator shaft. Suddenly, the elevator jerks to a halt, plunging them into darkness. Before anyone can react, a bone-chilling whisper surrounds them. Welcome to the heart of darkness. The elevator doors creak open, revealing a dimly lit corridor. Thudding sound is now a physical force, pulsing through the air. Ryan steps out first, his camera at the ready. Stay close. Whatever's down here, we face it together. As they move deeper into the ship's underbelly, the corridor opens up into a vast chamber, the boiler room. Massive, rusted machinery looms in the shadows. But it's what's at the center of the room that stops them in their track. A swirling vortex of dark energy hovers in the air, pulsing in time with the thudding sound. Within its depths, they catch glimpses of faces, tortured, screaming visages that appear and disappear in an instant. My God, River breathed. It's a portal. Wyatt's scratched arm begins to glow brightly, resonating with the energy of the vortex. He grits his teeth against the pain. I think it's trying to fully open. To unwild. As they stand there, transfixed by the horrifying spectacle before them, deep, resonant voice fills the chamber. You have come, as was foretold. The vessel is prepared. The way is open, and now we shall feast on your world's fear. The vortex pulses violently, expanding outward. The team realizes with dawning horror that they may have just witnessed the beginning of something catastrophic. Whatever malevolent force dwells within the Queen Mary, it's no longer content to remain confined to the ship. Chapter 8. Confrontation. The swirling vortex of dark energy pulsates before them, its ominous presence filling the boiler room with an oppressive, otherworldly atmosphere. Ryan, River, and Wyatt stand frozen, the magnitude of what they're facing slowly sinking in. Wyatt, his arm glowing in resonance with the portal, steps forward. His face is a mask of determination, tinged with fear. We need answers, he says, his voice stronger than he feels. And we need them now. Ryan and River exchange worried glances, but nod in agreement. They've come too far to back down now. Wyatt takes a deep breath and addresses the vortex directly. Who are you? What do you want from us? The air around them seems to thicken, making it difficult to breathe. The vortex pulses, and a cacophony of voices responds, overlapping and intertwining. We are Legion. We are the forgotten, the lost, the damned. River shivers, her voice barely above a whisper. The souls of those who died on the ship. Not just the ship, Ryan realizes, his eyes widening. Soldiers it transported, the battles it witnessed. This place has been a conduit for death and suffering for decades. Voices continue, growing louder and more insistent. We hunger for life, fear. You have awakened us, now we will feed. Wyatt winces as the glow from his arm intensifies. What do you mean, feed? What are you planning to do? The response chills them to the bone. Your world, ripe with fear, we will consume it all. Suddenly, tendrils of dark energy begin to seep out from the vortex, reaching towards the team. River stumbles back, narrowly avoiding one of the tendrils. We have to do something. We can't let them through. Ryan frantically searches through his equipment bag. There has to be a way to close the portal. Salt, iron, anything. As they scramble to find a solution, Wyatt stands his ground, facing the vortex. He can feel the entities pulling at him, trying to use him as a conduit. With every ounce of willpower he possesses, he resists. No, he says, his voice growing stronger. You can't have me. Can't have our world. This ends now. The vortex roils angrily, the voices rising to a deafening screech. You cannot stop us. We are eternal. We are. You're nothing, Wyatt shouts, cutting them off. You're just echoes, feeding off the misery of others. You have no power here unless we give it to you. As he speaks, something remarkable begins to happen. The glow from Wyatt's arm, instead of feeding the vortex, begins to push back against it. A warm, golden light starts to emanate from him, forcing the dark tendrils to retreat. River and Ryan watch in awe as Wyatt stands firm, his newfound energy creating a barrier between them and the vortex. That's it, River exclaims. They feed on fear, but they're vulnerable to courage and determination. Ryan nods, understanding dawning on his face. We've been approaching this all wrong. We're not victims here. We're investigators, seekers of truth. And the truth is, you, he addresses the vortex, have no real power over us. As they speak, the golden light grows stronger, pushing back against the darkness. The vortex begins to shrink, the voices becoming more desperate. No, stop. We need beer. River steps forward, her voice firm. You can't have it. Not from us, not from anyone. This ship is a place of history, memory. It's not your feeding ground. The three investigators stand united, their combined will forcing the vortex to contract further. The boiler room shakes, pipes rattling and metal groaning as the two forces clash. Wyatt, at the center of it all, feels a profound sense of purpose wash over him. It's time for you to rest, he says to the entities. Let go of your anger, your hunger, find peace. With a final, ear-splitting shriek, the vortex collapses in on itself. There's a blinding flash of light and then silence. As the dust settles, Ryan, River, and Wyatt find themselves alone in the boiler room. The oppressive atmosphere has lifted, replaced by a sense of calm they haven't felt since they first boarded the ship. Ryan is the first to break the silence. Is it over? River nods slowly, a tentative smile on her face. I think so. I think we did it. Wyatt looks down at his arm. Scratches have faded to faint, silvery lines. We faced our fears, he says quietly, and we won. Chapter 9. Final warning. As the adrenaline of their confrontation in the boiler room begins to subside, Ryan, River, and Wyatt make their way back to their suite. The corridors of the Queen Mary seem different now. Less oppressive, but still charged with a subtle energy that keeps them on edge. I can't believe what just happened, River says, voice a mix of exhaustion and wonder. Did we really just close a portal to whatever that was? Ryan nods, his camera still recording. We did. And we have it all on film. This is going to change everything in the paranormal investigation field. As they reach their suite, Wyatt pauses at the threshold. Guys, wait. Should we really be sharing this? Think about the consequences if people knew what we just experienced. The team falls silent, contemplating the weight of Wyatt's words. They enter the suite, the familiar surroundings, a stark contrast to the otherworldly encounter they just had. River begins to pack up their equipment. Movements slow and deliberate. Wyatt's right. We need to be careful about how we handle this information. Ryan sets his camera down, inflicted expression on his face. But we have a responsibility to our viewers, to the truth. We can't just pretend this didn't happen. As they debate, a sudden chill sweeps through the room. The lights flicker, and the spirit box on the table crackles to life unprompted. Not over. Beware. They wait. The team freezes, exchanging alarmed glances. Wyatt's arm, the scratches now faded to silvery lines, begins to tingle. I thought we closed the portal. River whispers, her eyes darting around the room. Ryan shakes his head, his expression grim. We closed one portal. But what if there are others? The spirit box continues, its message becoming clearer. Doorways everywhere. Mirrors. Reflections. Be cautious. Wyatt moves to the large mirror on the wall, studying his reflection. For a moment, he swears he sees something move in the background, a shadow that doesn't match the room behind him. Guys, says, his voice tense, I think the mirrors are still active. They're like windows to the other side. River joins him, breath fogging the mirror's surface. So even though we closed the main portal, there are still ways for entities to come through? The spirit box crackles again. Yes, always watching. Waiting for the unwary. Ryan runs a hand through his hair, the implications sinking in. So what do we do? Can't exactly go around smashing every mirror on the ship. Wyatt turns to face his teammates, his expression resolute. No, but we can warn people. Educate them about the risks, teach them how to protect themselves. River nods slowly, and we need to find a way to close these smaller portals, or at least keep them dormant. As they discuss their next steps, the atmosphere in the room shifts. The air becomes heavy, charged with an electric tension. Team feels an unseen presence, not malevolent like before. Powerful and ancient. A voice, unlike any they've heard before, resonates in their minds. You have faced the darkness and emerged victorious, but your journey is far from over. The knowledge you now possess comes with great responsibility. The team stands in awe. realizing they're in the presence of something far beyond their understanding. Voice continues. Queen Mary is a nexus, a place where the veil between worlds is thin. What you have experienced here is but a fraction of the truth. There are forces at work beyond your comprehension, and they have taken notice of you. Wyatt steps forward, his voice steady. What do you mean? What forces? Both light and dark, order and chaos. Your actions here have rippled across realities. You must be prepared for what comes next. Presence begins to fade, but not before leaving them with a final warning. The portal is closed, but not destroyed. It can be opened again by those who know how. You must guard this knowledge, for in the wrong hands it could bring about unimaginable horrors. As the presence disappears, the team is left in stunned silence. The weight of their responsibility settles on their shoulders, heavier than any equipment they've ever carried. Ryan is the first to speak, voice hushed with awe. I think we just got our marching orders from the universe. River nods, a mix of fear and determination in her eyes. We're not just paranormal investigators anymore. We're guardians of a secret that changed the world. Wyatt looks at his teammates, then at the mirror that now seems so much more than just a reflection. So what do we do now? Chapter 10, Aftermath and Future Plan. The first rays of dawn break over the horizon, casting a warm glow on the Queen Mary's weathered hull. Ryan, River, and Wyatt stand on the deck, their faces a mixture of exhaustion and contemplation as they watch the sun rise. I can't believe it's morning already, River says, stifling a yawn. It feels like we've lived a lifetime in one night. Ryan nods, his camera hanging loosely at his side. In a way, we have. Nothing's going to be the same after this. Wyatt leans against the railing, his gaze distant. The faint silver lines on his arm catch the early morning light. So, what do we tell people? How much do we reveal? The team falls into a thoughtful silence, the weight of their responsibility settling over them like a heavy cloak. Ryan is the first to speak. We can't tell them everything, not yet anyway. The world isn't ready for the full truth of what we experience. River nods in agreement. But we can't stay silent either. We have a duty to warn people, prepare them. Maybe, Wyatt suggests, we start small. We release some of our evidence, but hold back on the more extreme aspects. We focus on educating people about the potential dangers of paranormal investigation. As they discuss their plans, they make their way to a quiet corner of the deck, away from the early morning crew members starting their shifts. Ryan sets up his camera one last time, facing his teammates. All right, let's do a final debrief. The record, and for ourselves. He presses record and they begin to speak, their words careful but heartfelt. Last night, we experienced something beyond our wildest expectations, Ryan begins. The Queen Mary proved to be more than just a haunted ship. It's a nexus of paranormal activity, a place where the veil between worlds is frighteningly thin. River continues, her voice steady despite her fatigue. We encountered entities that challenged everything we thought we knew about the spirit world. Some were lost souls, others were something else entirely, something ancient and powerful. Wyatt holds up his arm, showing the faint silver lines to the camera. We learned that the paranormal isn't just about gathering evidence or chasing thrills. It's real, it's dangerous, and it requires respect and caution. They go on to outline their experiences, carefully omitting the most shocking details about the portal and the cosmic warning they received. Instead, they focus on the importance of proper preparation, potential risks of provocation, and the need for a more serious, scholarly approach to paranormal investigation. As they wrap up their debrief, Ryan turns to his teammates. So, what's next for Twin Paranormal? River's eyes light up with determination. We need to dig deeper, research other locations with similar histories to the Queen Mary. Maybe we can find patterns, learn more about these convergence points. Wyatt nods enthusiastically. And we should reach out to other investigators, share what we've learned. Well, what we can share anyway. Form a network of trusted individuals who can help us keep an eye on things. Ryan smiles, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. I agree, but we also need to be prepared for what might come next. Whatever forces are out there, they know about us now. We need to be ready. As the sun climbs higher in the sky, the team begins to make their way off the ship. Each step feels significant, as if they're walking away from one chapter of their lives and into another, far more complex one. Before they leave, they take one last look at the Queen Mary. In the morning light, it looks almost innocent. Grand old ship with stories to tell. But they know better now. They've seen behind the veil, and there's no going back. You know, Wyatt says softly, part of me wants to stay. Keep investigating, to learn more. River puts a comforting hand on his shoulder. We will, but not today. We need time to process, to plan. Ryan nods in agreement. This isn't the end of our journey with the Queen Mary. It's just the beginning of a much bigger adventure. As they walk down the gangplank, their minds are already racing with plans for the future. They know they have a long road ahead, full of research, preparation, and undoubtedly more encounters with the unknown. But for now, as they step onto solid ground, they share a look of quiet determination. Whatever comes next, they'll face it together. The Twin Paranormal team has evolved into something more. Guardians of a hidden truth. Protectors against unseen threats. Queen Mary disappears behind them as they drive away, but its presence lingers in their minds. They've been changed by their experience, marked by forces beyond their understanding. And as they head home to rest and regroup, they know that their real work is just beginning. The world may not be ready for the full truth of what lurks in the shadows, but Ryan, River, and Wyatt are determined to shine a light into the darkness, one investigation at a time. The end.